I never thought one simple vote could create so many questions. Not a championship game, not a buzzer beater, not even a heated rivalry, just a list of names. Yet when that list was released, basketball fans across America exploded into debate. One question spread across social media, sports talk shows, podcasts, and YouTube almost overnight. Did WNBA players really snub Caitlin Clark? Or was the public reacting emotionally without understanding how players see the game? The answer isn't as simple as many people want it to be. Because this story isn't just about one player. It's about respect, reputation, expectations, and what happens when a rookie enters a professional league carrying more attention than almost anyone before her. To understand why so many people believed Caitlin Clark was disrespected, we have to go back to the very beginning, before she ever wore an Indiana Fever jersey, before sold-out arenas became the new normal, before television ratings reached record numbers. There was already enormous pressure surrounding her name. Long before she entered the WNBA, Caitlin Clark had become one of the biggest stars in college basketball history. Her deep three-pointers seemed impossible. Her passing made highlight reels every week. Fans who had never watched women's basketball suddenly found themselves tuning in just to see what she would do next. She wasn't simply winning games. She was creating moments. Every logo three felt like history. Every assist became another viral clip. Every arena she visited filled with fans hopping to witness something unforgettable. By the time her college career ended, expectations had reached levels almost impossible for any athlete to meet. Many analysts called her the player who could transform women's basketball. Others believed she would immediately dominate the WNBA. Some even predicted she would become the face of the entire league within months. Those expectations didn't come from Caitlin herself. They came from everyone else. The media, fans, former players, corporate sponsors, television networks. Everyone seemed to have an opinion about what her professional career should look like. Then came draft night. As expected, the Indiana Fever selected Caitlin Clark with the first overall pick. The moment felt bigger than a normal draft selection. It felt like the beginning of a new era. Television cameras followed every step. Social media exploded with celebration. Jerseys sold almost instantly. Ticket prices started climbing before she even played her first professional game. Suddenly, every Indiana Fever road game became one of the hottest tickets in town. Teams moved games into larger arenas. Attendance records started falling. Merchandise sales skyrocketed. Television ratings climbed higher than anyone had expected. There was no denying one fact. Caitlin Clark brought extraordinary attention to the league. But attention can be both a blessing and a burden. Imagine spending years building your career, working through injuries, fighting for recognition, playing in front of small crowds. Then suddenly, a rookie arrives. Within weeks, almost every national conversation revolves around her. That doesn't automatically create jealousy, but it absolutely changes the environment. Some veterans welcomed the attention. Others reminded fans that the WNBA had been built by generations of elite players long before Caitlin Clark arrived. That message was important. The league didn't suddenly become talented because one rookie entered it. The talent had always been there. What changed was the amount of public attention. That distinction matters. As Caitlin began playing professional games, reality quickly replaced expectations. The speed of the WNBA surprised many new viewers. Defenders were stronger. Rotations were quicker. Passing lanes disappeared almost instantly. Every possession required precision. There were no easy nights. Every opponent wanted to beat the Fever. Not because they hated Caitlin Clark, because every professional athlete wants to defeat highly publicized opponents. That's sports. Still, every hard foul, every turnover, every loss generated headlines. When Caitlin struggled early in the season, critics questioned whether the college superstar was ready for professional basketball. When she played well, supporters argued she was already changing the league. Every game became part of a larger national conversation. Very few rookies experienced that level of attention. Then something interesting started happening. Many veterans continued playing outstanding basketball, yet national headlines often returned to one person. Whether Indiana won or lost, whether Caitlin scored 30 points or struggled offensively, she remained the center of discussion. Some fans celebrated that reality. Others believed it overshadowed incredible performances from established stars. Again, two different perspectives could both contain elements of truth. Then came several physical games that immediately sparked controversy. Hard screens, aggressive defense, physical fouls, fast-paced competition. Many viewers believed Caitlin was receiving unusually rough treatment. Others argued this was simply professional basketball. Former players weighed in. Current players responded. Sports debate shows turned every incident into breaking news. Social media magnified every angle. Slow-motion clips spread everywhere. People who hadn't watched entire games formed opinions from 10-second videos. That's the modern sports world. A single clip can create millions of opinions before full context ever reaches the audience. Meanwhile, Caitlin herself usually gave measured answers. She consistently talked about learning, improving, adjusting, helping her team win. She rarely fueled the loudest arguments surrounding her. But the conversations kept growing anyway. Then another topic entered the spotlight: player voting. Unlike fan voting, player polls often reveal how athletes evaluate one another inside the game. Players compete against each other, study film, understand defensive responsibilities, recognize details casual viewers sometimes miss. Because of that, player opinions often carry unique credibility. But they can also surprise fans, especially when public popularity doesn't perfectly match professional evaluations. When player rankings and voting results involving Caitlin Clark became public, many supporters couldn't believe what they were seeing. Some expected her to rank significantly higher. Others immediately concluded that veteran players were intentionally refusing to give her proper respect. The word snub appeared everywhere. Videos claimed there was jealousy. Comment sections exploded. People accused players of protecting established stars. Others fired back, saying fans simply misunderstood how professionals evaluate performance. The debate became emotional almost instantly. But before deciding whether there truly was a snub, it's worth asking a different question. What exactly does respect mean in professional sports? Does respect mean praise? Does it mean awards? Does it mean votes? Or does it mean something far less visible? Professional athletes often judge each other differently than fans do. Fans may remember spectacular moments. Players notice defensive positioning. Fans celebrate logo three-pointers. Players appreciate screen navigation, rotations, footwork, communication, and decision-making under pressure. Their perspectives aren't always identical. Neither perspective is automatically wrong. They're simply different. That difference becomes especially noticeable when evaluating rookies. Historically, very few first-year players immediately receive overwhelming support in player voting. Professional leagues are filled with veterans who have spent years earning recognition. Respect often develops over time through consistent performance rather than immediate popularity. Still, Caitlin Clark wasn't just any rookie. She arrived with unprecedented expectations. Every ranking involving her instantly became national news. When player voting didn't fully match public excitement, fans searched for explanations. Some believed veterans were sending a message. Others believed media coverage had inflated expectations. Neither side seemed willing to compromise. Then former players entered the conversation. Some argued Caitlin deserved much more recognition. Others reminded audiences that one outstanding rookie season doesn't automatically place someone ahead of proven all-stars. Again, the discussion became more complicated. Sports are rarely black and white. They exist in shades of gray. Around this same time, another interesting pattern emerged. Several WNBA players publicly praised Caitlin Clark. Some complimented her passing. Others admired her vision. Opposing coaches acknowledged the challenges of defending her. Veteran teammates discussed her work ethic. These comments didn't fit the narrative that everyone disliked her. Yet criticism still existed. Certain players challenged aspects of her game. Some believed media attention had become excessive. Others expressed frustration that conversations about the league often returned to one individual. Were those comments evidence of disrespect? Or were they simply honest opinions shared by competitors? Reasonable people could disagree. That's what made the story so fascinating. It wasn't built around one obvious answer. It was built around interpretation. Then came another turning point. As the season continued, Caitlin Clark's performances improved dramatically. Her decision-making became sharper. Her chemistry with teammates grew stronger. The turnovers began decreasing. Her confidence became increasingly obvious. Games that once seemed overwhelming now looked manageable. Defenses still pressured her relentlessly, but she started finding solutions. No-look passes, deep shooting, fast break creation, late-game composure. The flashes that captivated college basketball began appearing more consistently in the WNBA. Fans pointed to these improvements as proof that she deserved greater respect all along. Critics responded by saying development over time was exactly what professionals had expected from a rookie. Once again, two interpretations emerged from the same reality. Then one statistic caught everyone's attention, and it would push the debate over whether Caitlin Clark had truly been snubbed to an entirely new level. That statistic changed the conversation almost overnight. For weeks, the debate had been driven mostly by emotion. Fans argued on social media. Television personalities picked sides. Headlines became more dramatic with every passing day. But numbers have a way of forcing people to slow down, even if they don't always tell the entire story. As Caitlin Clark settled into her rookie season, she wasn't just improving. She was producing. Her assist numbers climbed toward the top of the league. Her court vision began looking exactly like what basketball fans had admired during her college years. Defenses trapped her far beyond the three-point line, yet she still found open teammates. Every game seemed to feature one or two passes that made even experienced analysts shake their heads in disbelief. You couldn't teach that kind of vision. You could only recognize it. At the same time, she continued stretching defenses with her shooting range. Even on nights when her shots weren't falling consistently, defenders refused to leave her alone. They picked her up several feet behind the three-point line, creating extra space for her teammates. That kind of impact doesn't always appear in the box score. But coaches notice it. Players notice it. Opposing scouting reports definitely notice it. As Indiana slowly became a more competitive team, people started asking a different question. Maybe the real story wasn't whether Caitlin Clark belonged in the WNBA. Maybe the real story was how quickly she was adapting. Professional basketball is full of talented players who dominate college but struggle after making the jump to the highest level. The speed changes. The physicality changes. Every opponent is stronger, smarter, and more experienced. For most rookies, adjustment takes time. Sometimes a full season. Sometimes several years. Yet Caitlin's improvement seemed to accelerate every month. That didn't mean she stopped making mistakes. Far from it. She still turned the ball over at times while attempting difficult passes. She still had games where her shooting percentage dipped below expectations. She still faced defenses designed specifically to slow her down. But that's what made her progress interesting. She wasn't improving because the league became easier. She was improving while the challenges stayed just as difficult. Opposing coaches continued treating every Indiana Fever game like an important assignment. Their defensive game plans often started with one objective: limit Caitlin Clark, trap her, pressure her, force someone else to beat you. If you watched complete games instead of short highlight clips, that strategy became obvious. Defenders rarely gave her easy looks. Double teams appeared quickly. Physical defenders tried to disrupt her rhythm before she even crossed half court. For some fans, this was proof that opponents respected her more than they admitted publicly. After all, teams don't build entire defensive strategies around players they don't consider dangerous. Actions often reveal respect more clearly than words. That's an important point. Public comments can be interpreted in many different ways. Game plans cannot. Every minute coaches spend preparing for an opponent reflects what they truly believe. And judging by those defensive schemes, Caitlin Clark had already become one of the league's biggest concerns. Still, the debate over player voting refused to disappear. Every time Caitlin delivered another outstanding performance, social media filled with the same question. If she's playing this well, why didn't the players vote differently? It sounds like a simple question, but professional sports are rarely that simple. Consider how athletes evaluate each other. Fans often judge an entire season based on memorable moments. Players evaluate consistency. Fans remember game-winning shots. Players remember every defensive possession. Fans celebrate highlights. Players appreciate habits. One spectacular pass may go viral online, but a veteran point guard might spend more time evaluating whether someone consistently makes the correct read over 40 minutes. That difference doesn't necessarily make one opinion better than the other. It simply reflects different experiences. Current players understand how difficult the league truly is because they live it every day. They know what it's like to guard elite scorers. They know how exhausting back-to-back road games can be. They understand details that rarely appear in highlight packages. So when player voting differs from public opinion, it doesn't automatically prove bias. Sometimes it reflects different priorities. However, that's only one side of the argument. Supporters of Caitlin Clark raised another point that couldn't be ignored. If one rookie is already setting records, filling arenas, increasing television ratings, and producing at an elite level, shouldn't that influence how she's viewed by her peers? It was a fair question, because sports have always rewarded exceptional impact. And Caitlin's impact extended well beyond statistics. Every city she visited experienced increased attendance. National broadcasts drew larger audiences. Young fans wearing her jersey appeared in arenas across the country. Some people who had never watched a WNBA game suddenly became regular viewers. From a business perspective, her arrival represented enormous growth. That growth benefited the entire league. More viewers, more attention, more sponsorship opportunities, more national conversation. Many fans believed that contribution deserved recognition. Others responded that popularity and basketball evaluation should remain separate. Again, there was no simple answer. Then another layer entered the discussion. Several veteran players began speaking about the amount of media attention surrounding Caitlin Clark. Interestingly, many of these comments weren't direct attacks. Instead, they focused on balance. Some athletes pointed out that outstanding performances from other stars often received less national coverage. Imagine scoring 35 points in a crucial victory, then opening social media the next morning only to discover that most headlines focused on a rookie whose team had lost. That situation might frustrate almost anyone, not because the rookie played poorly, but because media attention isn't always distributed evenly. This distinction became increasingly important. Frustration with media coverage is not necessarily the same as frustration with another player. Those two ideas often became mixed together online. A player might criticize media narratives. Fans interpreted it as criticism of Caitlin herself. Context disappeared. Short clips spread faster than complete interviews. And once a narrative gains momentum online, correcting misunderstandings becomes incredibly difficult. Meanwhile, Caitlin continued doing what she had done throughout her career. She kept playing basketball. After wins, she praised teammates. After losses, she accepted responsibility. When reporters asked about controversies, she usually redirected attention toward the team. Those responses earned respect from many observers, not because they ended every debate, but because they avoided adding fuel to already emotional conversations. That composure became especially noticeable after physical games. There were moments when hard fouls generated national headlines. Videos accumulated millions of views. Comment sections exploded. Some viewers insisted opponents were intentionally targeting her. Others argued every rookie experiences tough defense. The truth probably depended on the specific play being discussed. Basketball is a physical sport. Hard contact happens. At the same time, certain plays naturally receive greater attention when they involve the league's biggest star. That's inevitable. If two reserve players collide during a regular season game, the clip may disappear within hours. If Caitlin Clark is involved in a similar play, millions of people analyze it frame by frame. Attention changes everything. As the season progressed, another interesting trend became impossible to ignore. Many of the same veteran players who had competed fiercely against Caitlin began acknowledging her growth. Some complimented her passing. Others praised her basketball IQ. Several admitted she was becoming increasingly difficult to defend. Those comments rarely generated the same headlines as controversial moments. Positive stories often travel more quietly. Conflict attracts clicks. Respect usually doesn't. That's one reason public perception can become distorted. If audiences mainly consume dramatic headlines, they may believe conflict exists everywhere. The full picture is often more balanced. Around this time, basketball analysts began reviewing film instead of relying only on statistics. What they discovered fascinated many viewers. Teams were defending Caitlin Clark in ways usually reserved for established superstars. Defenders picked her up nearly the length of the court. Help defenders shaded toward her side before she even received the ball. Traps appeared immediately after screens. Entire defensive possessions revolved around limiting her influence. Those strategies carried consequences. When multiple defenders focus on one player, someone else becomes open. Indiana slowly learned how to exploit those opportunities. Role players gained confidence. Ball movement improved. The offense became more organized. Wins started becoming more frequent. Suddenly, conversations shifted from individual performances to team progress. Could the Fever actually become playoff contenders? That possibility seemed distant only months earlier. Now it looked realistic. Much of that improvement centered around Caitlin's development as a floor general. Scoring grabbed headlines. Passing changed games. Her ability to control tempo improved noticeably. She recognized double teams faster. She trusted teammates more consistently. She became more comfortable reading professional defenses. Growth like that rarely happens overnight. It comes from experience, film study, practice, mistakes, adjustment, then repeating the entire process again. That's how elite players evolve. Yet even as her performances reached new heights, the original question refused to disappear. Did WNBA players actually snub Caitlin Clark? Or were fans expecting immediate validation from athletes who traditionally reward sustained excellence over longer periods? The debate had become bigger than one vote. It had become a conversation about respect itself. And just when it seemed opinions had settled into two opposing camps, a series of comments and events would challenge almost everyone's assumptions. Because what happened next didn't fit either narrative perfectly, sometimes the biggest stories don't end with one side winning and the other side losing. Sometimes the truth is far more complicated. By the time the season reached its later stages, something interesting had happened. The conversation around Caitlin Clark had quietly started to change. Not because people stopped debating, but because her basketball became impossible to ignore. Night after night, she continued producing. She created open shots that very few players could even see. She knocked down deep three-pointers that shifted momentum in an instant. She controlled the pace of games with a confidence that looked very different from the player who had entered the league just a few months earlier. The rookie who had once looked overwhelmed against elite defenses was beginning to look comfortable. And in professional sports, comfort often leads to greatness. Fans noticed. Analysts noticed. Most importantly, opposing teams noticed. Defensive strategies didn't become easier. If anything, they became even more aggressive. Every coach understood that giving Caitlin Clark space was dangerous. Every scouting report emphasized limiting her transition opportunities. Every defender knew they had to stay attached to her well beyond the three-point line. That kind of attention says something important. Professional athletes don't change entire game plans because of media hype. They do it because of what they see on the court. And what they were seeing was a player capable of changing games. As Indiana continued improving, another shift became clear. Many of the loudest conversations online were no longer coming from players. They were coming from fans. Social media had turned every game into a debate. Every missed shot became proof of one argument. Every spectacular assist became proof of another. One difficult loss meant she was overrated. One brilliant performance meant everyone owed her an apology. There was very little room for balance. That isn't unique to Caitlin Clark. It's the reality for many modern sports stars. When millions of people watch every move, every moment becomes magnified. A normal rookie mistake becomes a national headline. An ordinary disagreement becomes a viral controversy. A single vote becomes evidence of a league-wide conspiracy. The internet rewards certainty, but sports often don't provide it. Then something else happened that many people overlooked. As more current and former players spoke publicly, their opinions weren't nearly as unified as social media suggested. Some believed Caitlyn deserved more recognition. Others believed she was receiving exactly the recognition she had earned at that stage of her career. Many praised her talent, while also reminding fans that veteran stars had spent years building their reputations. Those aren't contradictory ideas. Both can be true at the same time. A rookie can be extraordinary. A veteran can still deserve recognition for years of elite performance. Professional sports have always balanced those two realities. Think about other leagues. In the NBA, NFL, MLB, or NHL, rookies often arrive with enormous expectations. Some immediately become stars. Yet earning the complete respect of fellow professionals usually takes time. Not because veterans refuse to acknowledge talent, but because consistency matters. Playing brilliantly for a month is impressive. Doing it for years earns a different level of admiration. Caitlyn Clark understood that better than most people. Throughout the season, her public comments rarely sounded like someone demanding respect. Instead, she consistently talked about learning, about improving, about helping her teammates, about becoming better every game. That attitude quietly earned admiration around the league. Respect doesn't always arrive through headlines. Sometimes it grows through everyday professionalism. Showing up, working hard, accepting criticism, responding through performance instead of arguments. Those qualities often matter more inside locker rooms than dramatic social media debates. By the end of the season, the numbers painted an impressive picture. Caitlyn Clark had established herself as one of the league's most exciting young stars. She had broken or challenged significant rookie records. She had become one of the league's top playmakers. She had helped bring unprecedented attention to the WNBA. Attendance increased. Television audiences grew. More young fans became interested in women's basketball. Businesses invested. Sponsors paid attention. Whether someone loved the attention surrounding Caitlyn Clark or believed it had become excessive, one fact remained difficult to dispute. She had become one of the biggest stories in the sport. But that still leaves the original question. Did WNBA players really snub Caitlyn Clark? The most honest answer is probably this. Some fans interpreted the voting as disrespect because they expected her popularity and impact to be reflected immediately in every honor and ranking. Some players likely evaluated the vote through a different lens, emphasizing sustained professional performance and the accomplishments of established veterans. Those perspectives naturally produce different results. That doesn't automatically prove jealousy. It doesn't automatically prove bias. And it doesn't automatically prove the voting was perfect, either. Reasonable people can disagree about awards. They always have. Every season in every major sport, fans argue over MVP races, All-Star selections, award finalists, and player rankings. Sometimes history even changes those opinions. Players once overlooked become legends. Others who received immediate praise eventually fade. Time has a remarkable way of revealing the full picture. Perhaps that's the most important lesson from this entire story. Caitlyn Clark's career is only beginning. Whatever anyone believed during her rookie season, it represents just one chapter. She still has years to grow, years to improve, years to compete for championships, years to build relationships with teammates, opponents, and fans. The same veterans who competed fiercely against her today may one day speak about her as one of the defining players of her generation. Sports have a way of changing perspectives. Competition creates rivalries. Time often creates respect. Looking back, the biggest mistake many people made was assuming there were only two possible explanations. Either everyone respected Caitlin Clark completely, or everyone was against her. Reality almost never works that way. Within every professional league, there are countless personalities, opinions, experiences, and perspectives. Some players become close friends. Others remain fierce competitors. Some embrace media attention. Others avoid it. Some believe popularity should influence recognition. Others believe only on-court performance should matter. None of those viewpoints represent the entire league. And that's worth remembering. The WNBA is filled with elite athletes who have dedicated their lives to reaching the highest level of basketball. They compete intensely because that's what professionals do. Hard fouls happen. Strong opinions exist. Award debates continue every year. None of that is unusual. What made Caitlin Clark's situation different was the extraordinary spotlight surrounding her. Every ordinary sports debate suddenly became national news. Every disagreement became a headline. Every vote became a controversy. That level of attention is rare. Very few athletes in any sport experience it during their rookie season. In many ways, the reaction said just as much about modern sports media as it did about basketball itself. Stories spread faster than context. Clips spread faster than full games. Arguments spread faster than thoughtful conversations. And yet, beneath all the noise, the game itself continued. Players kept competing. Teams kept improving. Fans kept filling arenas. Young girls watched from the stands, dreaming that one day they might play on that same court. That's ultimately the biggest victory. Whether people tuned in because they supported Caitlin Clark, supported another star, or simply loved basketball, more people were watching. More conversations were happening. More opportunities were being created for the league. In the end, history probably won't remember every online argument. It won't remember every angry comment section. It won't remember every viral debate. History usually remembers the players who changed the game. Whether through incredible talent, through unforgettable moments, or by inspiring an entirely new generation of fans. Only time will determine exactly where Caitlin Clark's name belongs in basketball history. But one thing already seems clear. She didn't just enter the WNBA. She changed the conversation around it. And perhaps that's why one simple question created such a massive debate. Not because everyone agreed, but because everyone cared. In sports, that's often the clearest sign that something truly important is happening. The debate over whether Caitlin Clark was snubbed may continue for years. New votes will come. New awards will be announced. New stars will emerge. New rivalries will develop. But the discussion surrounding her rookie season will always remain a fascinating reminder of what happens when extraordinary expectations collide with the realities of professional sports. And maybe the best answer isn't found in a single vote. Maybe it's found in what happened afterward. She kept improving. She kept competing. She kept earning opportunities to prove herself. And in the end, that's the one response that every athlete hopes will speak louder than any debate ever could.